this month is the opportunity to sit down with the fire chief. As you all know, that over the past few years, we've always been able to do this in person. And obviously with today's times and COVID and everything else that is going on, we switched over here to the Zoom format. Me personally, I like the interaction and when we're all in a room together and the time we spend together. To me, this is very one-sided, so it's very difficult for to try to get through it. But with today's times, we'll go ahead and go through it. Today, I mean, it's pretty interesting. We're in December and we're looking at red flag. Our COVID numbers for the month of November and now into December are absolutely just exploding. We're browning out companies today, staffing challenges that are happening that are out there, both on the folks in the field and the professional staff. So we're just going to try to go through some things here, kind of do some things that we traditionally wanted to do, but we'll just kind of catch up on some other things. I know as far as some of you, Adam, I know you've got to drop off a little early today to kind of manage some stuff. Charlie, you'll be filling in on that side of it, but we'll kind of kick it off. What I was hoping to do first is congratulations to Tyler and Adam for their promotions to their position. And I thought it would be nice to hear a little bit about each one of them as individuals, their history, and kind of their history with Metro. I know, Tyler, you went first last time, so we'll make Adam go first this time as far as his history and a little bit about Adam, too, at the same time.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Thanks, Chief. Thanks for spending some time with us today on this windy day out there. So where I came from, as I go back, way back in history as a kid, I remember my parents used to tell me about how I was really involved or really interested in the fire department. My dad had a house that backed up to the fire station, and every time I'd hear the old siren go off, I would run back to the back fence and climb up the fence and watch the truck leave. So I guess it was in my blood early to go down the fire service route. Started my career back when I was going to UC Davis, playing baseball there. And as if you know Davis at all, you know that there's a huge bicycle community. And so one time I had my bike stolen. And so I went to the police department to fill out the police report and recognized that they had a resident firefighter program there. So I got involved there and worked there through while I was going to school in the resident program. I actually worked with a couple folks that are members here now with Metro. And during that time, I guess, you know, we talked about, I know, Chief, you used what's something that people probably don't know about you that's interesting. At that time, I was going down the path of either being a physical therapist or being an emergency room physician, working in the ED. And so I'd started job shadowing and doing some of those things through some connections at the hospitals, and then got into the fire department. And I guess you could say once I got on the actual engine and going to calls, I never looked back. And so that was back in the mid 90s. During the summers, I worked for Cal Fire, and then I was fortunate enough to get hired full time there at UC Davis, where I worked for a few years. And then I found out about Metro through a retired assistant chief, Jeff Metzinger. He was an uncle figure in my life growing up before I was a teenager, and he worked for the American River Fire District. And so I always looked up to him, and he actually got me interested and said, hey, why don't you apply over here? And it was right there at that time of 2000 when American River and Sac County came together. And so I did. I went through the process in the first class there in 2000. Wasn't selected, and then I came back the following year. And fortunately, at that time, I'd been looking for a number of opportunities outside of UC Davis, and I had a number of job offers and chose Metro Fire. And I do not regret that decision at all. It's been a very, very beneficial thing for myself personally and professionally, and so I really enjoy being here. I got hired in the class 1-2 back when we used to do the combined academies out at McClellan. With Sac City, there was Woodland, West Sac Fire, I'm probably forgetting somebody, but there was 12 of us that went through that academy out there. I got assigned right out of the academy at Station 31 on the medic, and my captain at that time was Charlie Jenkins. Probationary assignment was with Captain Charlie Jenkins, working the ambulance with Super Dave Kasasha on the medic there. So for those of you folks that remember him, let's see. I've been involved over the years in a number of programs: hazmat, USAR, boat operations, Swift Water. It's just been an amazing journey. The incident management teams I've been a part of, and really it's been very fulfilling to work here. And I'm really excited now to be in this new role as Deputy Chief of Operations and working with the executive team. We're in a really good place. I feel as Metro Fire, we're moving in the right direction, and I'm looking forward to more of that positive to come. And as I mentioned, as I moved into this role, Chief Jenkins will be covering some of the talking points for me here when I jumped off as the C shift commander now. And behind him is Battalion Chief Joe Farica, who's taken over for special operations that Charlie left. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I've got a wife and 4 kids. We're a blended family. We live up in Placerville here, where I'm talking to you from today. I have my own 2 kids. My wife has her 2 kids. We come together as the Brady Bunch, and so we're enjoying our time up here in the hills. What else? What did I miss? What are some of the other things on there, Chief, let's see.
What station did you work at more than any other station?
That's right. Yeah, so I spent back in 2003, when the hazmat team became a reality, I went to 109 very early on and spent 10 years. Over the next 10 years, I spent there with a couple of breaks in between as a firefighter, engineer, and a captain. The person I worked with the most is Sean Condit. Him and I worked together in a number of different ranks. Obviously, for those of you that work at that station or have worked at that station, it's a pretty dynamic group over there. And I can't say that my experience was anything but very dynamic, working with folks like Freddie Waddell, who was a fantastic firefighter and fun to work with. And then, as you guys all know that have worked with him or around him, firefighter Adam Russell, who could tell a story 10 times the same story and you'll never stop laughing. Many dinner time activities there where my stomach hurt so bad from laughing over the same story that I heard a number of times, depending on how many Red Bulls he had that day. That's how we used to figure out how the day was going to go there at 109.
What did he drink before Red Bulls came out?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe it was straight sugar, syrup with sugar in it. I'm not sure.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Now we'll jump over to Tyler. What's your background and a little bit of your experience with Metro?
Well, good morning, everyone. And now I know what it feels like to go second. Thanks, Adam. That's big boots to fill. Again, Tyler Wagaman. I know most of you know me, but if I haven't had the opportunity to physically meet you yet, I certainly want to do that. I know there's a lot of new faces in our organization, and that is going to continue as we push forward. Currently serving as your executive director at the Comm Center and moving over to support services upon the retirement of Chief Shannon. So a little bit about me. Born and raised in Sacramento. Had a short stint in Chicago. For any of you that feel like Chicago is a good place to move, I would deter that as much as possible. It is absolutely freezing there. Come from a family of construction primarily and real estate. I'm the first in our wide family to have picked up public safety. Similar to Mitchell, I think the fire service chose me at a very, very young age. At the age of 10, I joined the Sacramento Fire Buff Club. At 13, I moved on to an Explore Scout for the American River Fire Department. Dabbled with a few different Explore groups from AMR to Sacramento County Fire, ROP student, then moved on as a reserve firefighter in '96 with the Sacramento City Fire Department. Then got lucky and got picked up as a reserve firefighter for American River in '97. Worked there for a couple of years, and again, more luck and determination, I was chosen to serve as a dry creek firefighter and moved on to the academy in January of 2000. We attended the Sacramento City Fire Department at the J Street Tower. Myself and Negosic, McGoldrick, Watts, Reyes, and Rosinski. Carl Simmons was actually in the academy as well, but he was working for West Sacramento at the time. And ever since then, there's really been no looking back. It's been a constant move forward. Served in the detail pool for 6 years. Best choice I ever made. I had a great opportunity to work basically every fire station and as many apparatus as I could, just becoming familiar with the organization literally firsthand. Again, back at that point, there was a lot of time spent on an ambulance. So I went through the engineer promotional process and I literally worked my first bid station as a firefighter for one shift before promoting to engineer. I worked as an engineer for a couple of years, then moved on to captain for 8 years. I spent 2 years in the office working for operations, as well as served as the radio shop manager. Then for a whole whopping 9 months, I worked as a battalion chief out of B9. Then worked the last 4 years as an assistant chief, and it's been a heck of a ride. Some of the most memorable times that come to mind is I've constantly progressed through my career with somewhat of a black cloud, and that my first call as a reserve firefighter was a 2-alarm fire on Straw Road. And I remember I beat Terry Barnes to the fire station and I took his water tender. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of hell to pay for that. Then as a firefighter, my first shift, we had a 2-alarm apartment fire on Bell. My first shift as an engineer, we had a couple houses going up on Knollwood out in 103's area. Then my first rotation as a captain, we had a 2-alarm townhouse fire on La Riviera Drive. Then had 16 working fires as my first DAPL as a battalion chief, working July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So again, it's been a really a cool career so far. It's been very dynamic, and for some reason, I've been asked to get experience as quickly as possible. For whatever reason, I'll try to figure that out one of these days. I was also, last 16 years, I was on the USAR team. Went deployed to Hurricane Katrina. That was definitely a memorable experience. Worked at Station 21 for years with a fantastic group of folks. Again, every single shift was not only filled with calls, but filled with laughter. So just really good people. So as a part of the rescue program, I served as the reserve coordinator for a while, worked as an arson investigator for a bit, as well as was chosen during the inception of our air operations program to serve as a helicopter crew chief. So a bunch of very neat experiences, but there's only a few agencies that I can think of with this many opportunities. So I'm glad that Metro Fire chose me. What am I missing, Chief?
Where'd you work the most? I think you said
Definitely
21.
Station 21. Yeah. Yep. The names that come to mind, Randy Wooten, Bob Weber, Mo Johnson, Mike Lozano, Pat Plexico, Steve Caldwell. Again, those guys that have you in tears just about every minute of every day. And it was just an absolute blessing to come to work every day. And it still is today.
Thank you, sir,
Yeah.
very much. As we move forward now, for you all out there, I'm just looking to see there is a question and answer app that you'll be able to bounce up on there if you need to. Or if you have a question about something or a question for an individual, we can put them on there and we'll try to get to them as we go along. It has worked pretty good. Adam, I know you need to jump off now. Is there anything you want to add real quick here at the end?
I'm looking forward, as Tyler said, to meeting more folks that I haven't met before. I know we have a lot of newer members of the organization, but it's been a really awesome ride so far. And I know in this new role, it's like drinking from a fire hose in the last month or so. But what we're doing now and some of the things we're looking at in the future are really exciting. And I know Chief Jenkins has a number of items that he'll bring up for operations. But if you have any questions, please reach out. It'd be great to be out there and talk with folks as we get through this COVID mess and moving forward on into the future about building those relationships. So thanks, Chief. I appreciate it.
You bet. I look forward to working with both of you folks as we move forward, along with Greg. in Greg's position. And I think that we have a good foundation to build upon as we move forward. So good deal. What happened 20 years ago on December 1st? Charlie, do you remember?
Yeah,
There you
we
go.
merged, the merger.
The merger happened. So we're
You know-
going
you know,
into
it's
20
interesting.
years now.
Yeah, it was
with the-
interesting, Chief. I brought that up to, what I was talking about, but I remember going over to La Sierra High School had closed, and that's where we were all given our badges. And I was wearing one of the old baby blue uniform shirts that American River had, and the Ben Davies black pants. And then I think about that transition maybe a little before we went to the solid blue uniforms. But yeah, 20 years ago.
Sounds good. So 20 years ago, and now you are a shift commander. Don't turn off your mic because you're gonna talk about yourself. Tell us a little something about yourself, Charlie.
Well, I don't have anything prepared, but kind of in the same boat as Tyler and Adam. As a little kid, I think it was having the little fire truck, driving around and watching the fire department. My family came from the military. My dad was a military pilot, traveled all over. I'm one of five, so I have four older sisters, and there's 20-year gap between my oldest and me. So I was born on Mather Air Force Base, which is ironic, but now I'm actually sitting in an office on old Mather proper. Born on Mather Air Force Base, I did not move. All the traveling happened before me. So growing up, military was always kind of talked about. I always liked the fire department. I really watched Rancho Cordova Fire District through the years and enjoyed a lot of those guys. Had some friends that I went to school with in high school, and their dad, Hopkins, Captain Hopkins, was a captain for Rancho Cordova Fire, and Len Hansen was another engineer for Rancho that I talked to quite a bit. Went off to college and ironically ended up having the drive to put in for Cal Fire and got hired with Cal Fire, where actually Dave Burnett, who's a captain with us currently, Dave was a reserve, I think they called him on-call, or I forget how Rancho called it, but Rancho Cordova Fire Department picked him up as a reserve firefighter. And about that
What year
time,
was that?
that would have been 1986. So we had Dave Burnett was at Rancho, and I also got picked up with Sacramento City Reserves with, I know Joe Farica was there with me, and Canzati, Engineer Canzati was there with Doug Bine, who since is retired, Chris Quinn, quite a few of us worked with the Sac City Reserves. So did that for 6 years, and then graduated college. I was went through ROTC basic training for the military, for the Army, went back to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and they had offered a spot while I was in school, and I had about a year and a half left. And then when it came to signing, it was all go see if you like it. If you don't like it, you don't have to go. But needless to say, they wanted me to sign for 8 years, and my sister had done it for 4 years. So I had turned that down and waited and thought, well, maybe when I graduate, I might do OTC and go in as an officer that way. But anyways, tried a couple of jobs out of college, and the fire service called me. So I applied and went through American River and got hired as an hourly, along with Joe Farica and some of the other guys from Sac City Reserves, and got hired with American River. Went through American River, got promoted to captain. Well, engineer captain was on the list. I think they offered me the both jobs at the same time. Back then we did out of class. I was an out of class engineer for a year or two, and then was a captain at the merger, was a captain. And then 2005 promoted to battalion chief, and most of my time there at battalion 14. And then now assistant chief on C shift. So kind of with that. So through the career, I've had some great assignments, worked, I know you're probably gonna ask me which station, probably 109 back in the day when we were pool firefighters, back Arden, Carmichael, and Arcade with American River. We had pools. We had 10 plus firefighters in the pool. So we did, like I think Tyler Wagman mentioned, we bounced around all over the district, covering spots. And actually it was a lot of fun. You got to know everybody. You lived out of your car. You could go in and kind of stir the pot and then head off to your next assignment, but you really got to know everybody. So with the American River guys, they had to rebid with Carmichael Art and Arcade. They could only stay in one station for 3 years. Then they had to bid out of that to help integrate all of the different departments. And so a lot of the crews moved from 106 to 109, the truck crews. So I spent as a firefighter a lot of time on the trucks, 106 and 109. And then, 109, I remember Brian Rice was an engineer there at 109. Captain Ogg was there, and then bouncing back and forth, and then drove actually out of 109, 102. Brian Wall, Captain Lotta, all those guys were great, and did tiller driving, which was a lot of fun. And as a captain, first assignment was 109 also. And so a lot of dynamic people back then before the hazmat hit. And then the merger hit, did a little stint at 31 and 65, and then off to B14. So a little bit about me there.
A little bit across the board there. Well, thank you, sir. Thank
You
you
bet.
for giving us a little background on that. And I know that kind of now we will jump into really kind of what's kind of been going on. And I know we had a lot of meetings over the weekend, but just about COVID and some of our COVID numbers and where we're at. And if you look, and Charlie will go through the numbers here of kind of where we're at. But November for us has been a huge impact on the district. And it also has been a huge impact on the dispatch center as far as the number of positives and the spread. I know we're also close to it, but I believe our numbers between March and through October, and then our numbers for November. So all the numbers March through October are equal to, or November is equal to all of those numbers just in that 1 month. And we're seeing a lot of, and I think a lot of it that we've identified has not been really spread at work. It has been off duty, and then people coming into work and exposing other people. There has been some trips that were done that were station trips, which has then caused a breakout in those fire stations along the way there. And then there has been, unfortunately, some folks that have come to work and they have been ill, and that has spread across the station. And so it's put us in a really bad position. Charlie, I'll have you kind of go through the numbers, and then we'll talk about what strategy 3 is and about staffing challenges that we're having.
Sounds like a plan. So our current COVID numbers, this is as December 5th, and I think the chief was kind of getting into that a little bit. So from the beginning, and this is through November 1st, we've had 63 positive members, and 45 of those have been since November 1st. So maybe that number does go to December 5th. I read that the wrong way. So 63 positive and 45 since November 1st. Currently, we have 76 members off work. We have 38 positives recovering, and 38 are awaiting test results. 688 total members have been tested since the start, and we've had 359 tested since November 1st. And these numbers will change daily as we continue to see a need for tests due to contact tracing. That's what I got for numbers, Chief.
Thank you. And you can see those numbers are just blowing up at the back end of this in November and December. Over the weekend, a message came out from Chief Mitchell with operations that we're going from strategy 2, tier 2 to strategy 3, tier 3, or strategy 2, tier 3. And what does that mean? In tier 2, if you went in and be tested and you tested positive, then you were off work. I think we've switched from 14 days to 10 days, and that you had to be symptom-free during that time. If you tested negative, we would wait 3 days and then retest you again, and then bring you back to work after 2 negative tests. If you look at the numbers, you'd think that would be maybe 3 or 4 days across there. The reality is that ends up being somewhere between 5 and 7 days. And then if you throw a weekend in there, that's about 8 days. And so with 76 members off, the trigger point for us is 2 consistent days of browning out companies. And so on Friday and Saturday, we had browned out up to them some engines. Engine 26 and engine 50 are the two that are on the list. And we are looking at that list to adjust it. But 2 consecutive days of browning out companies with 76 members off, we go to strategy 3. For strategy 3, what that means is that you come in, you have your baseline test. If it comes back negative, then you go back to work. And there is a little bit of a risk over the time that we've been here. Out of the 688 total members that we've tested, 9 of them have tested negative, and then the test afterwards, they have come back positive. What we've identified is that we probably have tested those people a little bit too early, and the symptoms were still building on them. But also some of those folks have self-tested, and again, testing too early comes back as a negative, and then they've converted to a positive. But to maintain staffing, I look at the membership, and thank you very much for the amount of hours and the amount of work that you're doing to make sure the apparatus is staffed. 114 and the staffing folks have done just a tremendous job of filling companies and being able to get folks and bringing folks back to work. But what I see is I just don't think it's sustainable. Probably this week, I know that this morning over at 109's, there was a large number of folks. I don't know what the actual number of folks that were over there testing this morning. But unfortunately, I believe over this next few days and this week, we will see what impact Thanksgiving had on us as far as an agency. So we will go, I think it's just over 2 weeks in tier 3. And then we will reevaluate at that point. That'll put us right before the holidays as far as Christmas. If we are not having brownouts and our staffing is doing good, we'll go back to the tier 2 strategy. If we are still having struggles and we look and forecast out on how staffing is going, we will stay in tier 3 if needed to as we move through the next portions of it. I just think that from my point is that our activity at work and our activity off duty has a huge impact back on staffing and spreading the virus that we see in the fire stations every single day. It is, everybody has some different beliefs that are out there, but we are lining up that people that have gotten together, that have gone on trips, that have done things off duty. Even back in the very beginning, we had some folks that did a bachelor party, and that group was the kind of the ground zero for bringing it back. And we've seen the same thing happen again here. As we move forward, I think it's on the horizon of mandating masks in fire stations, mandating masks in apparatus. That has been shown to be the one area to stop the spread. And the problem has been the individuals that have come to work sick and then have spread to the other folks within the fire station. If you are sick, if you have signs or symptoms, do not come to work. I don't know how else to say that portion of it. That has had a huge impact on some of the folks that end up, possibly testing negative, but we have to pull them out because of that exposure and a high risk exposure as we go on. We'll continue to update each day on where we're at and some of the challenges that we're having with COVID. But I do see some challenges coming up, and especially with the holidays and the fallout from Thanksgiving as we move forward. Tyler, I see that Ty unfortunately is on his phone, but can you fill in just real quick for him? Oh, he's back on there. Kind of give us an update on Ty on where we're at in the dispatch center and some of the challenges and what we're doing with the CAD coordinators over there. And unfortunately, I think we're having a bad day over there today again. You're going to have to unmute yourself, though, if we're going to hear you.
I forgot I had control of that. They finally added me on. I've been listening, but I wasn't on there. Yeah, so as everyone's probably aware by now, we have 19 of the 35 dispatchers that have tested positive over the last month. actually about 3 weeks. We hit our 2-week mark last Thursday of negative test, and then we had an additional 5 people that came back positive Friday. So that put us at the 19. We currently just did a test today. We have 4 people that went off on Saturday that were symptomatic that were tested today. So we'll wait and see what those results bring to us. It does look good. I was just on the phone. We do have people that are hitting that 14-day mark today. Some of them were hopeful they will be returning back to work, but I know just based on the doctor's notes that we received, there are a couple that won't be back anytime soon. They just have lingering effects and they're still symptomatic and they're not able to come back. One person was able to come back, but it was part-time, 4 hours a day, and another was 6 hours a day. So I think that over the next at least 3 to 4 weeks, things will improve, but I'm reluctant to say that because today's test, we had so many people that were symptomatic. It's hard to say. And speaking with Perryman, it's kind of 50-50. Yeah, there's a cold and it is flu season, but based on their symptoms, it sounds like most of them will be coming back positive just based on his experience with the testing process. So we're going to continue to work through that. The CAD coordinators are helping out extremely well. They're taking up a lot of the miscellaneous work, I would say, that the dispatchers normally handle. ETA on PG&E, moving up medics, everything that would take time out of their day to really cover it. They're helping out do that, as well as anything else that we need done around the dispatch center, including the decom process that we're doing every night at 7 p.m. So anytime we do have someone who is symptomatic or test positive, we've been going through doing a decon. We are utilizing the spray to do the entire facility, as well as doing a complete wipe down as well. So with that, that's all I have on that report. If there's any other questions, I'd be happy to report that out.
No, I think that's good. Thank you for the update. It's funny where people argue whether or not they are first responders or key portions of it. And we see right here is that having healthy, staffed, well implemented into the system over there is key. It's key for us and our success. After our last one, there was a question about the kind of the staffing and the direction of the dispatch center that kind of came in afterwards for me. As you know, it has been a challenge for the kind of the management of the dispatch center. We had the opportunity, and I think it wasn't it Ty, January that you started in dispatch 2020?
Correct. Yeah. January 14th, 2020.
January 14th of 2020. I really believe that our ability to affect change over there was to have the fire service and command officers involved and engaged in the actual dispatch center. We were able to do that. I don't know how we would be managing today if we didn't have Tyler or Ty that's in there. Is it another challenge for us? Is it another bucket of stuff for us to deal with? And it absolutely is. But I would rather have Metro in place where we're at, being able to manage it, being able to support Ty over there now, figuring out what we need to do, bringing in the CAD coordinators to help support, using the other cities for decon over there or testing of it and being able to manage it ourselves. I just have a lot of confidence now moving forward that some of the changes, some of the challenges, any of those things that are coming, we'll be able to overcome those and be able to move forward with that. I'm biased. I think that we have some of the best people, and our ability to manage it is the best way to go. But I think that for the future, this is the model, and it becomes just more integrated into what we do every single day. And I think what you guys have been able to do between Tyler and Ty over there has really set us up for being able to move forward. I know that I talked to Ty the other day, even with everything that is going on, We still are moving forward with some of the CAD upgrades, some of the things that we were able to do. Obviously, with this right now, you've stopped everybody from being able to come into there, and it's going to slow us down a little bit. But again, it's our schedule. We're managing it. I feel very connected in that if we're going to make an impact on it, we can do that, and we have been doing that right now. So thank you too. You definitely stepped up, Tyler, during a time that to move you over to there and be able to kind of set the foundation. Ty, with your experience and your background, kind of across the district operationally, and then your labor background and being able to put that together, I think that's what's going to lead to our success and kind of the future over there.
Thank you.
You bet. Chief Shannon, I see you're on there right now. This is getting down to the last couple weeks for you. Maybe you can give us a first. Which area did you start with? Which department?
Oh, Castleton, Sac County.
Oh, that's right. I couldn't remember which one that was. Like you hadn't told me 10,000 times, but that's okay. What year?
For a young Tyler Wagaman over there in high school, running around Station 28 every once in a while. So, yep, Sac County.
So your retirement is when?
Tuesday, not tomorrow, Tuesday, but the 15th.
From Tuesday.
The week
All
from
right.
Tuesday.
Well, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank
We
you.
do expect to get a full week out of you, so don't slack off here at the end of it. What do you have for some on support services? What's some of the projects or a little update from support services?
All right. Well, support services, and I just really want to start and say thanks to Operation and everybody else that has this kind of COVID task force that we go around, because support services and the professional staff that are still coming to work every day, kind of working in kind of some tight quarters too, just like Chief Wagaman experienced is at the comm center, but they keep including support services and professional staff in their daily COVID talks and numbers and testing. And so our folks in support services has taken advantage of some of those tests as of recently. And so I just appreciate including everybody in this organization, because you know, as the wheels go down the road, as they say, it takes everybody to keep it moving. So I do appreciate that. Just a couple of updates. We've talked a little bit about, you've heard me talk about 68 or new Station 68 coming over the last couple of years. I really do think we're in the final stages here. Currently, we're at the final stages in plan review and permitting with the city. They had what they called the general contractor opening bid on November 19th. They had 8 contractors show up, received 8 bids. Jeff Fry, Aaron Castleberry have been just working extremely diligently to get this project on time, on budget, and moving forward. So we're at the point now that it will be the bid award, and all the appropriate paperwork will be going to the board on the 10th this week on Thursday, and hopefully it will be approved. Once it's approved, I think the rest of December will be used to kind of formulate a plan and start to mobilize everybody and all the contractors and everybody else that needs to be involved, and mobilize that plan to move forward, looking at a groundbreaking ceremony in January 2021. So right around the corner, and hopefully barring weather and anything unforeseen, looking at about a 13-month build out. So we're probably looking at somewhere February 22, hopefully, for a new Station 68 to be put in service. So that's been a long process. It's still not finished yet, but we're moving forward, and hopefully 22, at the beginning of 22, we'll have a new station. You guys will have a new station. So that's it with 68. Over at, we'll get to a little history on 24. I'm sure that especially guys and gals on the line have heard about, we've had some little bit of issues over at Station 24 with some bed bugs. I want to say thanks to all the crews at Station 24. They've been absolutely great. We're trying to, every time that an issue has come up, I believe facilities has jumped on it as fast as possible, and moved forward with any type of treatment. So within probably the last month, just give or take about a month, we've done numerous chemical treatments. We've had a bug sniffing dog. We've also done a heat treatment over there where they basically treat everything up to about 140 degrees in that station. We have put new floors in for them, taking out all the carpet and everything. So I think we're on the right path. From my understanding, we haven't had any bug issues over there for about a week and a half. I haven't noticed anything with a visual inspection. It looks like we'll have the bed bug sniffing dog come through again on the 10th. So this week it had to be, as they said, bug free for a couple of weeks before the dog could get in there again. So hopefully we're on the right path. And by the end of the week, if we have a couple of more negative encounters, I hopefully we have this bed bug issue put behind us. But again, thanks to the crews at 24, it's never easy operationally when we have to move you out of your station for a little bit, part of the day, sometimes overnight. But they've been very accommodating for facilities to get in there and move forward. With that, John Rayside in the facility side of the house, John Rayside will be taking over the facilities manager position at the end of the month. George Graven will be retiring. So if any of you guys are out there and you get by the shop, please, say thanks and give George a little bit of love. He's been an unbelievable employee for the last 20 years or so, and he's been a really, really very good facilities manager for me. Made my job a lot easier. So we wish him well and all the best of luck in the next adventures. A little bit, we'll just finish here, Chief, with a little bit of Fleet, what's been going on at Fleet. I think if we look at the calendar year, Shay and his crew over there, we've put 19 pieces of apparatus in service, 11 operational pieces of apparatus, 8 support pieces of apparatus. We're looking at, we have 4 pending pieces of 2 BC rigs and a couple of John boats about ready to be done and moved out onto to the troops. And we also have 17 pending pieces of apparatus and or support vehicles still in the hopper for this fiscal year moving forward. Obviously medics, I've kind of harped on that about we switch those out every couple of years. So we have some medics. We've got a couple of 3 type 1s. We have a couple of type 5s. Got a couple more Tahoes and some support vehicles coming out, hopefully before the end of the year, or before the end of the next fiscal year, I should say. So they're moving forward and putting out a lot of products, which is unbelievable. And you know what, that's about it for me, Chief. So if you have any other questions other than that, thanks.
Nope, just thank you for the professional staff side of it and the folks with you being able to adapt and still be able to put the apparatus out there. And I think the key on that, or the stations, or all the different areas that you have, is that the system still continues to move forward. They've been able to adapt and protect themselves and then still be able to support the organization as far as that service delivery. So thank you for those things there. Chief Castantini, on the admin side of it, what is happening in your area and what's happening with COVID?
All right, Chief, good morning. And also good morning to everybody out there as well. So I'll make this quick. Quick update. We've seen a significant reduction in motor vehicle accidents when it comes to being our fault. Over the last few years, we've seen a big reduction regarding the severe accidents, the ones that are going to be very costly, put people in the hospital, where we're, damaging rigs excessively. So we do still seem to have some of the preventable accidents, the backing, banging doors and windows, that kind of thing. And recently we did have an engine back right into a medic. With 2 backers on the ground. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But we understand some of the minor ones are going to continue, but thank you for your attention to detail when it comes to the more costly ones. We don't want to see nobody get hurt, and I'm trying to get a reduction in our insurance as well. So thank you for your help on that end. Also, taking a quick look at our property tax. It's doing well as expected for 2021. We should see growth next year, but not like the last few years that we've seen. April and May had a major reduction in home sales due to COVID, but then sales rebounded. The median sales increased 6.5% since May. And take a look at the 30-year fixed mortgage, it's down below 3%. And it was about 4% this time last year. So we're not sure what effect the pandemic's going to have on property taxes. We're always looking at foreclosure rates, any property tax delinquency rates, and the median home value decrease. So things are steady on the property tax side, and that's good. And we are anticipating the board improving the resolution supporting the 3% raise related to the property tax per the MOU. So that's good news. Fire prevention is still wrapping up year-end mandate inspections. Probably don't know that with your help and prevention, they perform about 10,000 inspections every year. And so they're on a hard push to finish up the school inspections. We were not able to get into the schools a lot this year, so we still have roughly about 80 schools to finish up between now and the end of the year. We have a labor management this Wednesday, talking about a few topics. One of them will be possible promotion testing coming up for captain, and then maybe in the fall for engineer. We have to talk about that. So, Chief, I know you'll touch on the budget, but I would say that we did have a $2 million surplus that is now gone. A lot of that comes from decreased medic revenue, reimbursement related to COVID, and also some big time increase in overtime cost due to everybody being out with sick leave as well. So as far as COVID affecting the administrative building, we have to comply with the county orders. Right now, I saw this morning that the ICU rate is about 18.2% in this county. I believe the experts are saying that might drop over the next few weeks related to Thanksgiving. So we might end up restricting a lot of the people coming back to this building. Right now, it's kind of come in once or twice a week, do what you have to do, but try to work from home. And we'll see if we have to be more restrictive from that. Thank you for being patient for work comp conversions on your time. We have Candace Sarlis working on that. Normally she handles, 3 or 4 work comp claims a week. Now she's at 30 or 40, and she pretty much works by herself on that. So we're trying to give her assistance. She will absolutely get to converting your time from your sick leave back to work comp. It's going to take a couple weeks, and thank you for being patient with that. So Chief, unless you had any specific questions, that's about it for admin. Back to you, sir.
No, not really any questions. I do have a comment though on the budget. Like you said, kind of coming into this year, we were really unknown of what the impact was going to have. I think that the property tax side of it and our revenue from there has remained constant. And I know I shared it with you, but the sales and the sales volume has been incredible. I know on Saturday I took the back way home. The amount of growth that's happening kind of on the southeast side of the district, and still construction, new homes, everything that's going in the ground is still going forward. So watching that closely, but medic revenue is down just about $1 million. And that was kind of a little bit as we watched the end of last fiscal year and into this one here. So we'll take a hard look at that. And then the overtime work comp hit on us has been significant. So as we move forward here in December, we'll maintain a look onto that. I do believe we will have some significant budget changes as we move into next year. But I do think we put ourselves in a good position for being able to do that. But in January, we'll sit down with all of the folks who manage different parts of the budget and be able to adjust that as we move into the kind of the first half or the second half of the budget year or the first half of 2021, and then look at what's going to happen for us as we go into budget year 21-22. But right now, if we just kind of keep on going, we're going to look at about a $6 million deficit. Looking at the daily stats, I think that our call volume and our transports has been running about flat, as far as flat meaning it was what we did in the first quarter of the year as we look back at that. So we'll continue forward with that as we go. I'll look on here. Has anybody sent in any questions or anything? I don't see any on there. I do have just some updates, some stuff that's going on. The CCRU program, which is the members that are out doing testing, the swab testing was set to the agreement that we had with the county. The county is paying for those units. It was set to expire at the end of the month. They have asked for us to do a 6-month extension. We'll do some alterations to the program due to staffing and some of the other management of it, but we will continue with the program into 2021. Having them on, kind of on the units on site has really helped facilitate our testing each morning, or our retesting of individuals over at Station 109. Then that group has really has a great relationship with the county lab, and spent some time over there last week at 109 and kind of watched the process and the connection that we have over there. We know that by in the morning when we test and we turn them in, there's an opportunity usually between 5 and 7 at night to get those back. If we don't get them back the first day, we get them back the second day, first thing in the morning when that batch comes out. So it has been great for us on that, and then for being able to support over at the dispatch center. One of the questions I got here now is the city seeing something similar? They are seeing very similar as far as COVID numbers. I know on Saturday when we had talked, we had a meeting on Saturday. The city had browned out Station 2. They also had browned out 2 additional engines and additional truck at that time, and they were working on trying to get staffing back. And I know the shift commanders are staying connected with the city to make sure that any of the brownouts were not browning out a large geographical area. The next thing we have is the Mobile Integrated Health Program. We're still moving forward to it. It was funded by the Hospital Coalition. It just has been pushed back somewhat to the back burner as we go through and do the RFP for the provider, but we will continue with that. Cardiac monitors, we need to replace our monitors. The cost of those are about somewhere between $35,000 and $40,000 per monitor. If you look at that, it's the cost of a vehicle that you can throw on your shoulder, but today's technology is incredible. We'll look for a grant for those to be able to move forward. Through the UASI, which is the Urban Area Security Initiative, which is the region here, we were able to have the UASI program purchase individual tick cameras. We had them early on, and a number of companies had them out there. Looks a little bit bigger than your phone as far as the thickness, about the same size. Each individual will receive a tick camera, each riding position will, and we'll have those. The folks that have had them out there, not on the sales side, but the people that are actually using them, the input back has been incredible, and incredible as far as being positive. We have said, I know in my career, the ability to give people the opportunity to see. I know when we went through and did the SCBA upgrade with the Scots, there was an option for them, but it just had not, the technology had not moved fast enough to be able to go from what I would say is a toy to a tool. And with these, I think we've really seen now it's gone from a toy to a tool that each individual, whether it's for your own safety, for being able to see where you're at, see your ability to get back out of the building, or for search and rescue, or for extension. So those will be coming out before too long. I just want to say thanks to Training Health and Safety. The live training burns were extremely successful. The feedback from the individuals of being able to get out there is just overwhelmingly positive. But to be able to do that, the group of our training staff, along with the companies that assisted them, to get out there and do that and set them up and then be there multiple days. Thank you for doing that. There's some new turnout gear that is available out there. There's materials. Our stuff that we're in right now is phenomenal as far as protection. We'll look at the impact as far as heat has on those gears, and the amount of burn injuries is very low. So we don't want to lose that protection, but there are a number of materials that are out there. And I think it's important over the next 6 months that we do a wear trial, find out what those materials are out there, what is the best stuff. And I know myself picking up a jacket is that for the same protection, they're lighter, more flexibility and reduced heat impact on the individual. So we'll continue to do that as we move forward. And then just a shout out to Coach. He's been able to upgrade just a number of areas of fire stations, as far as the equipment that is out there, the facilities, the workout equipment. Thank you for being able to do that. That investment in all of you definitely is a very positive impact as we move forward then. We had some questions last time about the internal paramedic program. We are moving forward. We have 3 folks that will be in the spring 2021 high flex program as we move forward. I think for us, given the option to be able to kind of really try, I think having 3 folks in there is perfect. There is some other folks that were very interested, but within the program, there's some prerequisites that you had to have done before you were able to go into it. I was at 109 and I said, call me in about 9 months and we'll tell you whether it goes well or doesn't go well and what we need to do to be able to adjust. But we said in the very beginning, if we're going to hire EMTs, we want to give them a path, or we want to give them an opportunity to become paramedics. With the high flex program, I do think that is our opportunity. One of the concerns that is out there with a number of fire chiefs kind of across the region here and across the state is the classes that were in place in March, the paramedic classes, and then those paramedic classes being shut down, or people not being able to do their internship or not being able to do their time in the hospital. The already low numbers of paramedics in the hiring pool that are out there is now a number of schools have not had a program and they're starting up programs. What is it going to look like in 10 to 18 months out there for trying to hire paramedics? So again, I think we're ahead of that for us. If we can continue with this, we will have an academy that will be a mix of paramedics and EMTs in July of 2021, probably a pretty big academy. And we will have that opportunity for folks to continue on for paramedic training. What else do I have on here? Those things. Support services, CRRD, thank you all for, you talk about a group that continues to come in and adapt to COVID. But as Greg said, a couple of the mandates that we have to be able to do is that they continue to do that, along with the mandatory schools that we have to inspect. The other one is the community involvement group has tried to adapt. That has definitely been very challenging as far as providing material for when people were in class, now out of class, and trying to do some things online. One of the things that we have decided is that each year we have a number of folks that ask us to participate in parades and Santa and a number of other events. What we decided to do is with no contact, we will help support some of the different parades, the ability to go drive in the parade, or I know a number of areas are now having a static display where the cars actually drive by. We are going to support those as long as there is no contact with folks and nobody allowed on apparatus. I know that the shift commanders along with the BCs have been managing those in the past. A lot of questions about those. Again, I think it's a great opportunity to show some support, but we will put limitations on those as we go forward. I don't see any other questions or anything that have come up. Folks on your side or on here, anybody have a go back or anything they would like to be able to cover? Hearing nothing, I just have two things that are left. Jill Guzman has sent out a kind of an update for Metro Fire 2020, the holiday donation drive. I want to thank the union and the association for being involved with it. We put together Battalion 7 and Battalion 9, Battalion 14 and professional staff, Battalion 5 and Battalion 13. Again, it was our opportunity to look at giving back to the community. Thanks to the union who deposited $500 in each one of the accounts, and along with a few other folks that have given in those. I think it's a great opportunity. We'll figure out what that looks like in the future. But if you have time, look at Jill's email for the Metro Fire 2020 Happy Holidays, and being able to give back to our community. The last thing is just thank you all for what you're doing out there every single day, the attention to detail, the professionalism that you all have done. You continue to do what we do, which is provide service and provide the highest levels of service to our community every single day. So thank you for doing that. Happy holidays as we move forward. And we'll see you all, if not before, we'll see you all in 2021. That ends our meeting for today. Thank you for tuning in.